Welcome to the very first episode of Laura and the Grumps. I'm your host, Laura VanPate, with my two co-hosts, Alan VanPate, aka Van.
What's up?
And Mike Belly Solo, aka Bose.
Happy after Canada Day and pre-4th of July.
Nice. Hey, Bose, can you tell us how much you love Kenny Pickett?
He's an average quarterback, sort of like a Jared Goff type person.
And we're here today to talk about why we got into sports. The three of us love sports and make it a part of our lives. I first started watching sports when I was little, but I didn't really care enough about it until I was in 6th grade when I fell in love with it, basically. And I realized I wanted to spend the rest of my life in a sports-related field. I ended up liking sports after watching Super Bowl 48 between the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos. By the way, the Super Bowl taught me how to read Roman numerals too, so yeah. Even though the game was really bad because Seattle basically killed Denver, it was just awesome seeing a team that had never won a Super Bowl before finally win the game. And after that game, I ended up watching other sports such as college basketball and baseball, MLB baseball, not college baseball. And I started memorizing facts. I ended up making my own sports videos, and I currently attend the University of Maryland, earning a degree in sports journalism. Maryland has led me to a lot of great opportunities, such as meeting Jeremy Shop, the host of E60, and it's been a great experience. A lot better than if I would have gone to Penn State.
Way better broadcasting school.
Yeah, Maryland is a way better broadcasting school.
You mean Penn State?
No, Maryland.
I think they both have their really amazing attributes. Neither of them are Michigan.
That's true.
Michigan even has their sports journalism?
No.
But they're not, I'm just pointing out that they're not Michigan.
True. It's Michigan, Maryland, Penn State.
I think we can all agree they're not Michigan.
Yeah.
But you said Michigan doesn't have sports journalism.
When that's not Michigan.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're bad or anything. It's just not Michigan. It's all good.
Anyway, at Maryland, I started doing play-by-play broadcasts for the school softball team with College Park, which is the city where Maryland's in, a local radio station called WMUC Sports. Doing broadcasts can be pretty nerve-wracking, but it also is a lot of fun. And my favorite part of doing it is getting that radio experience. And I feel like on the radio, it's just so much easier than TV because people aren't looking at you. And it's like having a conversation with whoever you're doing a play-by-play with.
Well, they're really not looking at it TV because, when you watch like an Orioles game here in Baltimore or any other baseball game, there's still audio, except for, maybe beginning of an inning, they'll show the booth, with you and Jim Palmer or somebody or another athlete, maybe you and Jared Goff, since he's your hero, or something.
What about Kenny Pickett in his small hands?
Well, Kenny Pickett, you can interview him.
Yeah, I'd have to hold the mic because his hands can.
But TV, you're really not on TV a lot. Because when the game is being played, it's usually, for football, it's after timeouts. So baseball, after innings for a quick 30-second jaunt. So you can't be scared of being on TV.
I think what she's talking about is like when you're doing like hosting, like pardon the interruption or anything like that. I think the play-by-play is a lot easier if you're a sports fan than that would be if you're worrying about you having your own host your own show and you're like PTI or something.
Yeah, because I listened to some of Laura's games and she did, the softball and she improved, game by game. She had, a couple, lines where she kept, repeating. She'll get better at that.
I liked her dodgeball references.
I did too.
Yeah, dodgeball's weak.
Whatever. You're too busy watching Chevy Chase.
Where are we at, host?
Yeah. So, but I really like radio because it feels like it's having a conversation. And I did just start it out, so I'm not an expert or anything, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see where it leads me to. My favorite sports teams are the Detroit Lions. Woo! The Detroit Tigers. Woo! They're so much better than Mike's Pirates and his Orioles.
Way better.
Yeah.
Winning.
Whatever.
As Charlie Sheen would say, winning.
Whatever. The Detroit Red Wings, who have the most Stanley Cups out of any team in America.
Yes, United States.
United States. The Detroit Pistons.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. They have the third most in the NHL behind Montreal and Toronto, but the most in the United States.
Yeah. That's a nickname is like
Hockeytown, USA.
Yeah.
You've never been to Detroit, though, so you don't get it.
No, I've been there.
Whatever.
You just go across the bridge and there's strip joints.
Casinos. Now they got them on both sides.
Yeah. Actually, Detroit's really cleaned itself up. Van and I went there about a year ago. You could eat off the streets. That's how.
In fact, I often have. As
Yeah.
a homeless person.
Whatever. It's definitely a lot better of a town than Pittsburgh, but hey. And
Yeah, if I take you to Pittsburgh, you'll be impressed on how beautiful that city is.
beautiful.
PNC Park is outright behind Camden Yards as the second most gorgeous ballpark in baseball. Then you got San Fran as third. You know, Detroit's probably in a lower.
You've never
outside
been
of top
to
10?
Detroit.
I've been in Detroit.
We have a merry-go-round and a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, in deference to what I think Boyce is saying is that
Bose.
Pittsburgh is actually really nice. I mean, as a city, it's pretty clean downtown. The stadiums fit right in. There's a good design with the stadium. I think Detroit's
And I would recommend you guys go, Laura, to a Pirates game. You'd roam around the seats.
Watch your stupid Pirates lose.
Maybe I'll try to hook you up to work a weekend at PNC Park to see the Pirates.
Game there myself.
I would. It's a goal of mine to go to every baseball stadium. So every major league one, not like every.
Yeah,
baseball.
that'd be a lot of stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, and the Detroit Pistons because Bad Boys in 2004 Pistons.
Now the original Bad Boys is back in the late '80s.
Yeah, I know. But 2004 Pistons, they're also special too.
They weren't even close to that team.
They were quite as bad as in mean, but they were close. I mean, Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah. The
He would
Fro.
have fit right in.
The Fro.
Right in with the Bad Boys. Can't deny that.
But my favorite is the Michigan Wolverines. Growing up, it's just awesome. And yeah. And then Maryland Terrapins because I go there. So my three favorite sports memories are, I wanted to stick to one, but these three are so special. So first up, New England Patriots coming down back from a 28-3 deficit against the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl 51. That one is so special to me because I love Tom Brady. He's my favorite athlete of all time. He went to Michigan too, Mike. Ha. And he's the greatest quarterback of all time. We all know that, except we won't acknowledge it.
He is a great quarterback, but not the greatest of all
He's won
time.
7 Super Bowls.
He is a great quarterback.
7.
A lot of it was Belichick early in his career.
Okay, what's Belichick doing now that Brady won a Super Bowl without Belichick.
It
Belichick
really-
hasn't
it
done
really
anything without
It
Brady.
really doesn't matter
No,
what
it does
Belichick
matter.
does.
All I know is
But Tom Brady is very, very good.
Brady won a Super Bowl without Belichick. Belichick has done nothing without Brady.
And he's been to overall 10 Super Bowls, but he's lost Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He's been to a Super Bowl where his team was undefeated, and he lost to one of the Manning brothers.
Okay, but
on possibly one of the
Okay,
greatest
so according to
catches
you-
ever.
So according to
Greatest
you, being
catches ever.
undefeated is better than winning a number of Super Bowls. So according to
No, I'm not saying he had a chance.
According to your logic, Trent Dilfer is a better quarterback than
No,
Tom Brady.
he
because
had-
he's
no, I'm not saying
undefeated
that.
in the Super Bowl.
Tom Brady had a chance to go down in absolutely history of following the Miami Dolphins
So you
and going
would say-
undefeated.
So by your logic, Bob Greasy's a better quarterback than Tom Brady?
No, I'm just saying he had a chance to be undefeated, and he choked.
Joe Montana's never even gotten the chance to be undefeated.
Tom Brady can't compete against the NFC East. Every Super Bowl he's lost was to a team in the NFC East.
He beat the Eagles, though.
Eagles
He
once.
beat the Eagles, though, who are
Then they came back with a Philadelphia special.
Yeah, the thing
He's
about
lost to the Giants twice.
is that I think when we're talking about talent versus best, what is
Cowboys, Redskins.
what is the
Not
best?
King.
Don't you mean the Commanders?
Same.
Well, we could argue that the best, whether it's Montana or Brady, because I do think Brady is probably the best. But they're very similar style. Neither of them had rocket arms. They were good athletes. Well, Montana was a better runner than Brady, but then again, so am I. Nevertheless, I think
We could both beat Brady in running,
yes,
even in his prime.
But that's not the point. The point being is that
Brady's dominance throughout the league.
What delineates
It's his attitude, his mental aptitude
right. So
is very good.
Arguing the best talent, it's probably not Brady.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But
That's
if we're
fair.
arguing who's the most accomplished, you can't deny that it's Brady.
Yeah. Brady ruined his marriage to stay in the NFL for one more year.
And Jamarcus Russell probably ruined everything.
Well, Brady did what he had to do, and I sort of respect that. When you're in a high competitive, in a business environment, wherever, you have attorneys and CPAs losing marriages left and right because they're dedicated to their job. You have military people losing marriages because they're dedicated to their job.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten divorced yet.
So it's
I'm
not taking anything away from Brady on that for playing another year, but he was a little greedy. He probably should have stepped away, sort of like Jerome Bettis did when he walked away with the Super Bowl champion in his hometown, Detroit.
Yeah, after the refs cheated.
They were not cheated.
Stole stuff from
you guys are just biased.
Seahawks should have won that Super Bowl. They got screwed.
Because they turned the ball over too many times.
No, it's because the refs basically gave the game to the Steelers.
That being
there's bad calls both ways.
So your number one for the was the
28-3. I'm not sure if that's my number one. It's a three-way tie between two others. So another one of my favorite memories is Jordan Poole back when he was in college at Michigan, hitting. Okay, so
I'm getting this. So this is a Michigan flavor type of thing.
No, there's one that's not a Michigan flavor. Actually, no, they're all Michigan flavors. But anyway, so Jordan Poole, he's now obviously a big shot in the NBA. The Warriors just traded him to the Washington Wizards. But anyway, so Jordan Poole, he was a freshman at Michigan when this happened. They're playing Houston in the second round. And so basically Houston was up 63 to 61. There was barely any time left on the clock. So I remember telling this to you because we were watching it next to each other. So basically Michigan decides to foul Houston because, that's what you do when there's no time left. You have no timeouts. And basically I remember you were telling me, hey, he just has to miss one of these and we can get a 3-pointer to tie. So the guy, he misses one, Houston's free throw shooter, and then he misses his second free throw. So we're like, hey, we can either tie it with a 2-pointer or win. So basically Jordan Poole, he has the ball, he shoots it and it goes in. Michigan wins 64-63. I was screaming my head off. Our dog Grover, who is no longer with us, he was barking all over the house.
You're running around the house like a mad person.
But it was.
I just want to point out that a minute or two prior, you were crying because they were going to lose.
Well, I was so sad. But no, it was great. Jordan Poole was just so good.
So how good is Jordan Poole? Why would
the time and place?
Why would Golden State trade him?
We're talking about Jordan Poole, the Michigan guy.
Jordan Poole back to Michigan. Yeah.
Well, the basketball player. You just said he got traded to Washington.
He did get traded.
For who? For a better basketball player.
No, I think Jordan Poole is career-wise right now.
For Beal.
Oh, that was part of the overall.
Oh yeah, it was a part.
Paul's going to the Lakers or something.
Yeah, it was weird.
All right, so what's your third?
So I don't think Poole's that good.
No, I think Poole is.
I don't think he's as good as a.
He's not as good as Chris Webber.
You can't deny the power in college. He made the shot.
Yeah, he made the shot.
He's not as good as Chris Webber.
That's true. Chris Webber is great.
Well, he can count timeouts though.
Yeah. But Jordan Poole made Jordan Poole.
Did you win a national championship under this Poole character?
No. I mean, Webber, we didn't under Webber either.
We also, the iconic photo.
But you guys got there, though.
No, we did with Poole, too. In 2018, we lost against Villanova in the championship.
See, Mike's just...
He's just...
It's
just because Penn State's never even won a championship before.
Yes, we have.
No, you haven't.
What's a better photo? Poole falling away with a three-point shot to win the game, or Chris Webber calling a timeout to lose the game?
Definitely George. Come on.
And
5 was way better.
It should have been.
Yeah.
All 5 of those players, Jordan Poole could not carry their jock straps.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about.
I'm just giving my. I'm just giving you.
That shot heard around the world.
For a Michigan fan. For a Michigan fan, that probably is not even the top 10.
I beg to disagree.
Michigan basketball.
Michigan, yeah, for sure.
Because let's be honest, if there's a Michigan fan, all top 10 are going to be football.
I mean, I don't know. That shot was so good, though. Just
It was good.
it could be.
It got you nothing.
It doesn't matter. It was
got you the
shot.
next
It
game
was
and
the
lost.
shot. No,
Did
we
you
didn't
lose the
lose
next
the next game. We made it to the championship and we lost there, but it was awesome. That was in the second round, and
We got cheated on that.
yeah.
Like everything we lose, we get cheated.
Yeah.
So,
but
always have stories.
Third one.
My third one is actually pretty recent, and it came just this last year in 2022. So, Michigan football fan, and we've kind of had a down streak against Ohio State, but Michigan finally won in 2021. But Ohio State fans, they were just talking trash. They're like, "Oh, it was a fluke. Our quarterback C.J. Stroud had the flu." Blah blah blah. That was my impression of Ohio State fans. So.
Close.
Then we move on to 2022. No one's giving Michigan a chance because the week before they just barely beat Illinois. And it's in Ohio State. Perfect weather for Ohio State because, they're not a cold weather team. Yeah, but and no one gave Michigan a chance. I remember before the season, Mike, you were all like, "You're going to lose against Penn State. You're going to lose against Ohio State."
I think the Penn State game was a better game.
Yeah, honestly. And then the first half, it was close. Halftime score was 20-17 Ohio State. But then the second half, Michigan proved all those haters wrong. They killed Ohio State in the second half, and Ohio State was left for tears. Michigan was just so much better. And that's one of my favorites.
Then you got pounded by TCU.
Who cares? You guys didn't even make the playoffs.
Doesn't matter. You lost to TCU.
We beat Ohio
Which
State.
Georgia pounded.
You know the rivalry, Mike. I mean, you ask most Michigan fans win a national.
That is your biggest game to beat Ohio State.
And can't deny it.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's finally beat them twice.
And he was about to get fired after that.
He'll be fired soon.
Oh,
No.
not soon.
Can't fire me. He's a monster.
Yeah. Besides, if we fire him, that's like basically asking for Rich Rod again. And
No Rich Rod.
No Rich Rod. Yeah. But anyway, that's for me. That's basically me. That's how I fell in love with sports. Those are my 3 favorite sports memories. But anyway, what about you, Van? How did you get into sports, and what are your favorite sports memories?
So I grew up, growing up in a broken family with 3 females. The closest thing I could for identification of being a male was sports. So it was easy enough for me to watch it. And the best thing about, at least for me, is my mom. Back in the day, not everybody had their own television. We didn't all have cable. So my mom was judicious enough to allow me to watch sports. And Monday night back in the day, when we did Monday Night Football was the biggest thing around. ABC did the broadcast. Howard Cosell was on it. My mom would allow me to watch Monday Night Football. And I think what probably provided me the most enjoyment, it was the same night that at the time Little House on the Prairie would come on, and my sisters loved to watch Little House on the Prairie. So, but every other week, I could watch Monday Night Football because we had to share, and they couldn't watch Little House on the Prairie. So that was awesome, just crushing their dreams.
Wow!
And
you named your daughter after the main character on Little House on the Prairie.
How do you know that? No, just a rhyme. It worked well. I like Little House on the Prairie in reruns, just not over Monday Night Football. There's no way you can say that's better than Monday Night Football. It's Monday Night Football. Howard Cosell.
Yeah, come on.
Andy Don.
Bose, what do you think of Monday Night Football and Little House on the Prairie?
Well, it's totally different change now. Laura, for you, like you and your dad, for me, the 70s, to be on Monday Night Football, the football players treated as different. You're on national TV. Back then, there was no you would have a game on CBS or Fox. There was no Fox back in that day. CBS or NBC or ABC. That was it. That was it. So when you got on Monday Night Football, you had the spotlight. You had Howard Cosell. You had all these people, the whole nation watching your teams play. And even though today these players still say, yeah, Monday Night Football's the best thing to play. No, they don't care about that anymore. Because they're on their own markets. They're on Thursday night. The NFL has gotten very corporate, very greedy. And they are really ruining, unfortunately, football for the players safety wise, because they got them playing Thursday, through Monday. And that's not good. That just shows you how greedy the leagues come. And it's a sad state. But yeah, Monday Night Football. When I was a kid, I'd be bed by the first quarter because the game didn't start till 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But it was the prime time thing to do.
Nice.
I remember Bo Jackson running for 99 yards.
It's it was against Seahawks in the old Kingdom.
I was a little older because I was no longer, I was in my getting ready to be around 20 probably when he did that, rip that stuff off and just totally tear apart, steroid guy from Oklahoma. Bosworth.
Yeah.
And that was an iconic moment when he just bulldozed him over at the goal line.
That was classic.
And he could not. Bosworth at that point, he knew his career was over. He met his match.
What about the rest, Van? So you got into sports basically because of Monday Night Football?
It was a way to identify with more male figures because I really didn't have, and not like I'm anti-female.
I don't know.
You and I watch sports together.
That's true.
It's something that fit well, and I'll tell you, echo what what Mike said is that Monday Night Football was for those teams that didn't make playoffs. It was like a playoff game. It was an event and highlighted, and you couldn't watch every game. I mean, being a Lion fan, not in a city where you had a chance to watch, because I first lived in Grand Rapids area, and you got a mix between Green Bay, because it was actually technically closer, and Lions sucked. So you got to maybe get once every month a Lion game. So if you got them on a Monday night, it was special. I remember my mom saying, all right, you can stay up through the entire game on a Monday night game, win once a year, maybe twice a year, the Lions might be on. So it was special.
Nice. But what are some of your favorite sports memories?
So I'm going to go outside of the Michigan stuff because I'm sure any of the listeners. I'm not going to be a homer on all of them. Maybe I'll throw in one. So number one for me, besides just watching football, what made me love sports is going to be the Miracle on Ice. Solely because, even though it was tape delayed, it was still an event. And you couldn't wait to see it because it was the United States versus Communist Russia. We're going to defeat the evil power, axis of evil, as Reagan called it. So I'd say, that's probably my top one. I can't disagree with some of your Super Bowl picks at all because I'll tell you, 28-3 was just amazing to watch live because everybody left the house during that, because it's 28-3. Halftime, everybody was gone at our Super Bowl party.
Yeah.
And so that's totally got to be up there. And and to avoid the homership, anytime we can beat Ohio State, that is just awesome. But the way you do it, in the way they did it in the past 2 years, it reminded me when as a kid watching Bo Schembechler or Woody Hayes, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And that's what it felt like. It was the people in the trenches. And so, as a football fan, which I primarily am, I probably enjoyed those games the most. So yeah, those are sort of it, and that's why I love sport. Plus having you around, and having good friends like boys.
Yeah.
To go.
To hate on us.
Homers. Michigan homers.
You're a homer against all Pittsburgh.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Pittsburgh and the Orioles. I get it. But let's hear Mike's takes.
Wait, hold on. One more thing before we start. So, that's definitely cool. It's really nice seeing Jim Harbaugh versus person born on third now fighting with each other.
We fired this when we get beat 3 times in a row.
Yeah. So one question I have for you, Van.
Yeah.
Who do you hate more, Communist Russia or Ohio State?
You know what? I'm an American, first of all. And as much as I don't like Ohio State, I'll say when they get to playoffs, if they're in the playoffs or if they're in a bowl game, I always default to rooting for the Big Ten and rooting for America. And yes, Ohio's an American. Who doesn't like Cedar Point? So I will root for Ohio State over communist Russia. And I'll root for Penn State over communist Russia too, because it's in the Big Ten. Gotta love the Big Ten.
Appreciate that.
But would you say Ohio State and communist Russia are close to each other?
No.
Not even close.
There's no Cedar Point in communist Russia. No,
there's no horseshoe, and
that is a good discussion. But no, I do root for Big Ten teams, primarily Michigan. Obviously, I love my Michigan. I never went to college like you smart people. But
well, I mean, Mike went to Penn State. That's barely college.
Oh,
That's what they call University of Maryland.
I can't talk to any of that. Military was my college.
I definitely respect the Big Ten. Penn State's got great programs.
And give Ohio State some credit. They've got
some good programs. It's got some good, especially when you get the graduate level, some good schools. So more power to you, but
who doesn't
hate Ohio State, right? Even Mike would agree with that.
Yeah. All right, Bose. So how did you get into sport?
Pretty much as a young kid, you just you have your father and stuff and friends, and when you're 2 years old, you get thrown into the Atlantic Ocean to see if you sink or swim.
What? That actually happened to you?
Yeah, no. Well, because I was born up in the Northeast, outside of up in Rhode Island, right? Basically, 200 yards from the Atlantic Ocean, and my dad goes, he's got to learn how to swim in case he walks across the street.
I want to meet your dad.
And so my mom agreed that we'll just throw him in, and it is the best way to learn how to swim when you're that young, around 2 years old, because you learn how to survive. Because it's salt water, it's more easy to float.
True.
With salt water, and you're a buoy. You can just basically come back up. You start doggy paddling and going. I'm not saying that's how I learn on sports, but it's that's how everyone gets into sports. It's that type of sink or swim mentality of, okay, you go to a sporting event, if I went to Michigan every now, I'd probably shoot myself, but I'm just joking.
Never. You've never been to the big house. You can't.
No, I want to go there because it is a destination, but it's when you're a kid, you have so many teams that you follow, and you cheer for, outside of the, if you live in Detroit or the Pittsburgh area, you have all the Pittsburgh teams, but then you pick up a side team, especially when you're really, really young, because when I was a kid, I liked the Reds.
The Cincinnati Reds?
The Cincinnati, because they had Pete Rose and all that.
Oh.
They were not, but also,
Yeah.
but my dad taught me not to be a Red Sox fan because they always choked.
That's true.
That's true.
And that's the area I was born. But I remember when the Red Sox, when I was a kid, watching that World Series, Red Sox and Reds, and my dad's like, they're gonna break your heart, kid. They're gonna cheer for
Your
him.
dad actually said that.
Because they did. The Reds won. And even what was it, in 78 or 79 when Carlton, the one game was Carlton Fisk hitting his home run to win the game, to tie the game or either win it. Then the Reds came back and freaking won. He's like, and my dad's like,
79 is when your Pirates won.
Well, this is like 75, 76.
Yeah, 75, 76.
And my dad's like, told you, kid, break your heart. The Red Sox are always losers, but they what? Hell, it took to 2004 for them to win a long time a World Series championship. And honestly, I cried a little bit because they were part of my family's history of Red Sox and all that.
You remember when I remember this is Yankees Red Sox. I want to say it was like 77, 78.
Yeah,
they tied for the record and they did a 1-game playoff.
Yeah.
It started at 3:00.
I watched that game.
I rushed home from school and I just remember Willie Randolph was on the team. You guys still had the Red Sox still had Vince before he left for Chicago. That was such an exciting.
Home as fast as I could to make sure I watched it all.
I would watch the Red Sox religiously because they were always would be on Saturday TV, NBC. You know, because that's the games they would play. And growing up as a kid, yeah, that's what I knew. You know, baseball and all that stuff. It was. Yeah, that's what got me into sports was, playing baseball at an early age, and playing all through high school and all that. And, baseball, I live and breathe it. Yeah. I'll never cheer for the Yankees. Right now, I don't like cheering for the Red Sox because it's most of their fans because their fans are idiots.
It's gotten very arrogant.
They got spoiled.
I think
they got spoiled because of winning with the Patriots. Then the Red Sox went on their tear
and then
of winning World Series. Then, I'm still a sort of like a Celtics fan because, like I said, my dad is from that area, and hell, the Celtics won under probably one of the greatest players ever.
Bill Russell.
Yeah.
All those championships where so Ohio is similar to you, Laura. My dad got me into sports. And he would if I was sick,
dads are special.
He would bring me back in those days the Sports Illustrated and all the other trivia books where I would just read baseball stats because that's what we used to get back in the 70s, Laura, and even in the 80s. Of just every week they would produce up-to-date statistics of every baseball player, football player, collecting sports cards, baseball cards, all this stuff. So that's how I got into sports. It was through my dad. A lot of times he couldn't make my games because he was a steel worker and stuff.
Oh, your dad was a steel worker in like the Pittsburgh mines area?
Yes.
That's actually really cool.
Did you remember in as elementary school, we're similar ages, elementary school, Sports Illustrated used to publish a book every year, a chronicle of sports every year, and I would check those out and read them all the way. I think they started in like 1960.
Yeah, no, I don't remember those. I remember there was another magazine that was out that would constantly that's what I would always get, or so-called shoplift. Shh, don't do that, kids.
Yeah, please don't.
But back in the day, in the 70s,
70s sounds like such a great time.
Oh, it's great for sports.
70, you had no cell phones and all that, and you knew when the lights came out on your street, that's when you had to be home. You're out all day playing baseball, basketball, riding bikes, doing everything,
like
getting all kinds of trouble.
Yeah, it's always Sandlot. Really, what Sandlot wasn't far off.
It was a I'm not saying the kids they have a bad life, but it's different. In that retrospect. So probably the three biggest sporting events was in my life. I'll start off with a weird one, and this one I'll be a Michigan homer.
Nice
On this one.
Go blue.
No, it was in the 70s. Me and my brothers and sister and all that, we came back from somewhere. And we got home. My dad turned on the Michigan-Ohio State game. And unfortunately, your Go Blue that day lost.
Whatever.
And my dad hates Ohio State. He was stationed in Columbus, Ohio, in the Air Force.
Oh, and he hated it?
He hated the head coach, Woody Hayes.
Yeah, he was a good coach, but yeah.
So, of course, my dad was drinking that day. Put his foot through the TV.
What? Your dad put his foot through the TV?
Through the TV, and the TV went into the wall, put a hole in the wall. And we had no TV for a few days. That's how pissed off. That's how much he hated Ohio State.
Yeah, wow.
And I don't have that. I don't hate a lot of teams, but I don't like. But that's like your dad was saying back in the 70s. There was a lot of that mentality of inner rivals. Starting fights and stuff. But now kids don't fight anymore. They pull out knife.
They pull out Snapchat and send mean things.
They send mean things, or they pull out weapons and things like that. Yeah. So I would say, that's not my most memorable game, but it was funny as being a kid seeing that happen.
Yeah.
Going, okay. Actually, probably my most favorite game was it was my birthday. My dad got me tickets for the Pirates.
Ooh.
And the Philadelphia Phillies. And this time, I was playing third base, and Mike Schmidt was my guy. Pete Rose was still, but Pete Rose was a little older, but really liked Mike Schmidt. So we're driving to the old Three Rivers Stadium, and my dad goes, "Hey, a couple of the head union guys know Mike Schmidt's dad, and they told him that it's your birthday, and he said he's going to hit you a home run." And I'm like, okay, cool, that'd be great. And we got there very early, and like when you're 12 years old, you're hanging by the dugouts trying to get. Now you have a little netting and all that stuff, but you're trying to get autographs and get balls and I remember his first at bat. What does Mike Schmidt do? It's a freaking home run.
Damn, that's pretty cool. Not as cool as your dad kicking a TV through your wall, but still.
But it's a promise though that he was going to do it. And the funny thing, he hit 2 home runs that night.
Oh.
And I'm like, holy cow! I'm like, this is the best thing ever. The third biggest moment would probably be
all the Super Bowls your Steelers have won.
All right, I'll go down that road.
Fair enough.
You poke the bear.
Well, the Lions.
Hey, we have a better shot than you this year. Your quarterback can't even wrap his hands around a football because his hands are small.
I'll put money in your Lions. I'll also put money on the Bears too.
Oh yeah, the Bears.
He's got to hedge his bets.
Justin Fields, who flat out said he doesn't like playing in the cold. Dude, you play in Chicago.
So my other favorite game, because you poked the bear about the Steelers, is also one of the probably the best, most feel-good story moments. If you're a professional athlete, to go out as a winner is Jerome Bettis going out at his hometown stadium, winning Super Bowl
after he cheated. No,
he
I like
cheat.
Jerome Bettis. I like Jerome Bettis. I'm not
The Rams gave up on that guy.
You mean the
Rams?
He started
with the
Rams. He was fantastic at Notre Dame. And he had a great year. Then the coaches started giving up on LA, and we traded for him to Pittsburgh. And of course, one of the greatest coaches, Bill Cowher, said, "This is your home." And And to go back even before that, his first game against the LA Rams, Jerome Bettis lit it up for like 180 yards, and Coach Cowher goes, "I'm pulling you." He's like, and you ever watched the old highlights? Jerome Bettis is sort of like crying on the sideline, going, "Don't pull me out, coach! Don't pull me out, coach! I want to score another touchdown." He wanted to rub it in that bad to the LA Rams for screwing them. And he goes, "Hey, we're saving you for a bigger game." I think it was '96 where we lost to the Cowboys because of Neil O'Donnell.
You guys had Neil O'Donnell as your quarterback.
We should have won that game because we shut down the Cowboys. They couldn't do jack squat against us.
Yeah, but you had
Neil O'Donnell threw 2 6 picks.
Two six picks. You mean 2 picks?
6 picks to a guy that eventually got, I think the Redskins or someone else got. Then we got rid of O'Donnell to go to the Jets, and they both sucked the rest of their career.
I remember that game because I was like, Pittsburgh's defense was so much better.
Yeah, we shut down the Cowboys so hard.
Yeah, I was like, you could have put a run.
I think the Cowboys only had. They didn't score an offensive touchdown. I really don't. I have to double. I would have to check.
Yeah, final score was 27-17 in that game.
I mean, you take away the 2 pick sixes, and you guys win the game.
Yeah.
You don't even know what the momentum is.
But back to the Jerome Bettis thing. Yeah, that's the way to go out. If I was a professional athlete, you get it. I'm like, even though, Laura, you make fun of it that Steelers were cheating, the refs were paid. No, that's not true. Because at that time, Big Ben, he's in his second year, and he was struggling.
All the calls go on that.
We had some there was bad calls both ways.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, the trick play, the Hines Ward was huge. Then we had the other kid at running back, and you ever watch on NFL Network when they re-show the Super Bowls?
Yeah, I know. Every time you watch that one, we get mad because the Seahawks got screwed.
But if you listen to what Jerome Bettis was doing, he was coaching the kid. I think it was Parker. Yeah, eventually Parker went to the Redskins and sucked there. Parker, he told Parker how to hit that hole. And what did he do? He got like a 75-yard touchdown run. That's Jerome Bettis. That's how I love that guy. Yeah, he's a Detroit guy deep down, and he loves your city. But he's also a Pittsburgh guy. He knows Pittsburgh loves him, and when he back in '96 when he told Coach Cowher, "Don't yank me," he started crying. That was a chronicle moment. Going, okay, this guy is good. That's why he's in Hall of Fame. You watch his Hall of Fame speech. It's one of the best. Obviously, I'd say in top 10. Mine being biased, it could be because I'm a Steeler fan, but it is. He talks about his family, about Notre Dame, and he's an excellent bowler.
That's awesome. Actually, he bowled 300 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's awesome. So that's my sort of 3 things in sports. And seriously, Houston, Texas Rangers have come back.
Similar. It's similar to Kurt Warner, sort of, in a way. He was an underdog guy. Yeah. Kurt Warner.
I agree because he was like me. Putting groceries in a shopping bag, but I'm not a quarterback and played in an arena football league. I didn't play in an arena football league, but he made it. I don't think he deserved to be in a Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Whatever. Kurt Warner's great.
I want to put a shout out, Mike. That he mentions something from that Steelers game, and I'm gonna. People don't get into the Hall of Fame because of this, but if there was a player to get into the Hall of Fame because of this, it would be Hines. That's wide receiver downfield block. He was the best downfield blocking wide receiver in history of football. Having watched him, I know it's such an insignificant stat, but some of those big runs and screens and everything, he's like blocking linebackers to safeties to cornerbacks. he was a monster. I would have kept that guy on my team just for that.
He would take people's heads off. I love Heinz Ward. I have a Heinz Ward sign lithograph along with a Jerome Bettis bobblehead with him wearing his Super Bowl 40 ring. And so, I'm a Steeler homer, but Heinz Ward. I tell a lot back in the day when I first moved here to Baltimore. They all despised Heinz Ward and Jerome Bettis. And I go, you would take both of them any day of the week. Any day of the week. They bleed for the team. They give their heart out. And two of the nicest guys. I bumped into both of them. They're the nicest guys in the world. And the same thing, met a lot of Ravens players too, since living in Baltimore. That I would say I would never, personally like, but you meet them outside of the football or any sports arena. Most athletes are pretty generous, but then you also have a lot of sports people that are truly total jerks. And but the Ravens players I've met and gone drinking out with, they're pretty fun.
Drink?
No, I don't drink. Just Diet Coke.
Fair enough.
All right. So before we head out, just a couple of things that are going on in sports. I think this will be a pretty good debate/discussion. So the first thing, I actually found this out from Clay Travis, who used to work for Fox Sports. And basically, so you know how ESPN has the ESPY Awards every single year? So one of their biggest awards is the Hero Award. And this has been some controversy with it. In 2015, they gave it to Caitlyn Jenner. But this year, there's a lot of controversy because they decided to give it to the United States women's soccer team. However, many people, including myself, believe they should have given it to former Browns quarterback Peyton Hillis, who saved 2 kids' lives from drowning. And we actually thought he himself drowned. So what do you guys think of that?
Mind if I start off? But, all right, I'm going to do this from a more military aspect because, I've done a number of years. So the definition of hero, which requires self-sacrifice. I remember having this discussion with somebody years ago. You remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, when the kid fell into the well? They're both.
Yeah, and I remember that kid falling. Yeah, that was in Pennsylvania, I believe, or West Virginia.
Yeah, and everybody's making a big deal about the kid, how the kid survived, how brave the kid was. And I pointed, I was like, the kid's not the brave one. The kid's the one, the brave one, is the ones who went in and sacrificed and did something. That's what being a hero really is disregarding your own safety, your own well-being for something else, something bigger, something that's not attainable to you, something that you don't make a profit off of. So and there's nothing against the women's national team. I love to watch them win. They're an awesome team, but you're not a hero for just playing the game and playing competitive and supporting women's sports and trying to, get proper pay and all those things, which are things that I don't disrespect them for arguing for, but to go out and actually try to save somebody else's life and risk your own. That's what being a hero is. So yeah, ESPN Blue. That's my summation.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Bose?
Your dad did a very good job of saying, his thoughts, and I sort of agree with him in those areas. I think sadly ESPN has lost a lot of, I don't want to say credibility, but they've definitely changed some of their mentality on what they want to do. When ESPN first came out, it was one of the best freaking networks ever. Everyone wanted to be Dan Patrick and and all that, and those are living icons, and they all left, and Laura, you'll eventually see this in your career, and it's going on right now. ESPN just laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm happy to be on this podcast with you and all that, to watch your career grow. So if it's U.S. women's soccer, I think their voice as being a hero to get more pay generation to men is applauded, because they deserved it. But sports are definitely less attendant for women's, except for soccer, because they were dominating. Now it's the men's turn. Men's team is going to be freaking lights out.
Yeah.
For many years.
We'll see if they can get that first World Cup.
I think they'll probably get it here in next year here in the United States. But the Peyton Hills, when you put your own life on the line to save a life, like your dad said, that is a hero. That's definition of hero.
Yeah.
You're putting your life on the line. I think as me as a grumpy person, 50% of the day, I think a lot of America's lost that thought of what's a true hero. Me and your dad, a true hero back then was that police officer, paramedic, fireman, someone saving a cat or dog, veterinarians, doctors. Those are the heroes of the world. Athletes are not heroes. You can't look up to them. They're not role models. That's why. I appreciate Laura. I think you said this before. The Charles Barkley Nike commercial, where he approached Nike and he told him, "I'm not your hero," whatever he quoted. That was iconic. And that's why I love Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley, and I've listened to his podcast on Spit and Chicklets, because they brought it up also when he did that commercial. And he said, first, the Nike executive said, "We're not doing this, Chuck." And he talked him into it with his agent. And it's one of the best commercials ever to be aired. And that's why Charles is so true. And someday, Charles, you ever listen to episode 1, or I'll keep mentioning your name. We're playing golf, brother.
I'm not. I'll drive the cart and drink beer.
So, something else, speaking of ESPN, you mentioned it, that's going on in the sports world, is ESPN's massive layoffs. So, some of them are really sad. I think one that kind of hits home for me is David Pollock from the College Game Day. He's really good. But one that I'm not going to cheer about people losing jobs, but one that I am a little surprised about is Max Kellerman. So how do you guys feel about that?
Well, he's been laid off so many times for ESPN. It's becoming quite regular for Max Kellerman. David Pollock, he'll get a job at Fox or Big Ten Network or SEC. He'll find another job. Remember, these people have made a lot of money in their career.
Yeah.
They make good money. You really should also mention, Susie Colbert.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
She was a groundbreaker, as a female broadcaster, and they let her go.
Yeah.
She'll find another job. They're all fine. This is what corporate America's come to right now. It's bottom line driven. We're going to find someone new, cheaper. And Laura, that's French game with you very, very soon.
Yeah.
You'll be coming an up and coming talent. And as long as you keep, doing these side hustles like everyone else does, of doing these podcasts and other things, this is where, you get that outreach. And, I agree. Yeah. I feel bad for anyone getting laid off.
Yeah.
It's sad. But the people at ESPN, these older people, they made their money. They'll all get another job. David Pollock, was very smart on the college game day. But everyone loves Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah.
He's so freaking knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And he will jump ship because the NFL wants him. Another network. When he does the did a couple of those NFL games, he is so brilliant in his color commentary. I think that's a guy you need to sort of follow. Or even though he's an Ohio State guy.
Yeah, I do like Kurt Herbstreit. He's really good.
He is so knowledgeable, and he's an Ohio State homer, but he's unbiased. He'll tell you.
Sure.
He'll tell you Michigan. He'll say Michigan's going to win, or Penn State's a better team today, and that's the person you need to be. You can't be biased, but you can once you're off the mic and wear your Michigan blue and all that, whatever you call it, maize and gold, maize and blue, maize and gold, black and yellow. That's where it is.
Yeah.
Black and yellow.
What about? Sorry. What about you? How do you feel about the ESPN layoffs ban?
It's some Machiavellian goat rope here, but I think it's endemic on, because they're part of a larger corporation with Disney, Viacom, all that stuff. So, ABC's interweb into it. I think, when Disney loses $11 billion because they're going in a direction that a lot of people might not totally embrace, it has secondary effects. And I think Mike hit on something that was really huge. I mean, ESPN owned, every market. They owned everything. And I think the problem is you can't really tune out people. And I think they have in a lot of cases. I would say, just like, just as pointed out, that some of the on-air talent that you just lost were some of our favorites. So, but to wrap up the discussion on, at least from my aspect, on Kirk Herbstreit, who, by the way, your mom continues to call him Herbstreit.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she thought Brad Osmus was good looking.
She thinks she thought Herbstreit was good looking too, and he is a handsome guy. But I will say, as much as I dislike Ohio State, I will echo the fact that he is probably one of the most impartial people you're ever going to see do commentary on sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an Ohio State grad, played quarterback. That's not Max Kellerman rapping, is it?
No, it's the guy that's in that song with Adam Levine. We call Dennis Rodman.
Oh, anyways.
Whatever.
Mike's
Should we play Antonio Brown's hit song? Pitting up the palace.
How about putting that S on?
Yeah, put that. All right.
No, anyway, so yeah, Herbstreit, Kirk Herbstreit, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Awesome on-air talent. So no, great questions, and except for Mike's music choice.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Wiz Khalifa's he's not way better than Antonio Brown.
Cool. All right. So the final thing that I want to discuss is this happened recently. LSU won the College World Series against Florida, and it's just sort of two things. One, LSU has had a lot of W's lately. They won the College World Series baseball. They won the women's college basketball championship, and then they won the college football championship a couple years ago with Burrow. LSU's dominance, and then the state of Florida has just taken loss after loss. FAU and Miami, they both lost in the Final Four for college basketball. The Heat and the Panthers both lost the NBA championship and the Stanley Cups, and then now University of Florida loses college World Series. So how do you guys feel about those two things, LSU's dominance and state of Florida?
The state of Florida sports is one of the best sports markets in the United States. So, for the Miami Heat getting there, they upset the best team, Boston Celtics, to get there.
Yeah.
And I think
the Panthers
the layover and the Florida Panthers. You had I'm not sure you follow hockey a lot.
Yeah. No, I do.
Keith Chuck he played games with a broken fucking sternum. You know how painful that is? Hockey players are the toughest sports athletes. You know, football players think they are. No, they can't even touch a hockey player. You know, you're skating on a blade that's a quarter freaking inch, and you're hustling for a minute, minute and a half, getting checked, getting forechecked, getting in fights, getting stitches. You're back on ice, and that's once again. My boy Charles Barkley says, "Hell, basketball player, they're freaking tanking right now because they're taking games off because they're tired." Yeah, the Florida sports market is fine. The Heat is rumored to get Lillard from Portland, and if they get him, they're gonna be freaking loaded. And them in Boston and Milwaukee are right there on the east side. Yeah, for LSU, that baseball team, they have one of the better baseball franchises. You know, in college baseball. Next, Arizona State dominated in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. LSU is right there. I would recommend to any listener, and you, Laura, there's also I think it's on ESPN or on Fox Sports, a history of LSU baseball, of one of their coaches. And an ex-colleague, one of my ex-colleagues, he pitched for LSU. And that was his coach on how he changed the organization around of college for LSU's program. I'm proud of LSU for the women also winning. It sucks that the SEC's winning a lot right now.
Yeah.
It also tells you where the payroll is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's because, I mean, I'm not saying that the SEC isn't good or anything, but it's just like, you know, the NCAA, they try to suspend Jim Harbaugh for buying a hamburger for someone, but yet, for recruits, but yet SEC teams can literally buy houses for their players' recruits, and basically the NCAA doesn't care.
Well, image and likeness.
Yeah.
Take it. I'll echo what was just previously said, but add just one thing, just my perspective.
Well, I would also say, Laura, every athlete's getting paid now.
Yeah.
What Reggie Bush did,
I remember. Well,
it was nothing.
Yeah, 2004. USC won the championship that year.
Give him his Heisman Trophy back.
Of course, yeah.
Give it back. That's how corrupt the NCAA is.
Yeah,
give him his Heisman Trophy back.
In my opinion, I think
he got paid. His parents got paid.
Yeah, in my opinion,
I had kids at Penn. I had classmates at Penn State. They were getting paid.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think the NCAA is the most corrupt sports organization out there. It's just so bad.
Yeah, we go down this rabbit hole maybe for the next episode.
Yeah.
But to sort of echo, I'm going to point out that although I do like to watch the College World Series, I'm going to say give a shout out, because if you gave me my option, if you're on a desert island and I could only choose between watching the College World Series or watching the female softball World Series, I choose the female softball World Series.
I do, because I also used to play softball too.
Yeah, sunflower. That's on another episode. But I think I find the enthusiasm on the women's side, and you get it on the men's side, baseball, but I just find the enthusiasm to be infectious. You can just watch them, and they're totally into it. They're cheering each other on. A lot of awesome camaraderie and teamwork. And to be honest, as a guy who played baseball and slow pitch softball, I don't think I could hit a fast pitch softball. That's pretty brutal. And I've seen you bat, and I know you've hit them before. So
yeah.
That's a good shout out there for softball. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the very first episode of Laura and the Grumps. I'm Laura, and then Grump 1 and Grump 2. Grump. And we are signing off. Thank you again, everyone, and see you next time.